So it actually turns out that I have a video. Um, well, I have three videos. I have the initial video from when we went to the site on the first day. And then months later, I actually recorded a second video, which was the day before we started the main site works on the site. And this was after the demolition company had come through and cleared out the block and removed the things that we didn't want there. And I thought it would be interesting to record an aerial drone video of the site before we done the work, so that at the end of the project I could, compare apples with apples as such, and let people, see the finished product. So this is the day before we started the major site works. I went to the site and I flew the drone through the site, and this will give you a better idea of what the site looked like from the air, as opposed to my shaky camera video when I was actually on the ground. So I'm just going to press play on this video so we can fly through the site about 15 meters above the ground, and I can show you what the site looked like, and I'll explain a few things as we're doing that. So at this point, as I said, the demolition company has come through, and they've actually, if you remember at the very beginning, this driveway was a concrete driveway and there was a steel carport here. Well, that's all gone now. Everything's been ripped out. And we made a decision at the last minute. We were originally thinking about retaining the concrete driveway and utilizing it. But then the driveway was quite old, and we were dropping in soak wells. We were pouring more new concrete out the front for, a double hard stand for 2 cars. And we looked at the old concrete red driveway and thought, it's probably going to be quite ugly coming up this old driveway and then turning onto this new fresh concrete, which would be out the front. The new fresh concrete being for the hard stand parking for the front house. You need 2 vehicle car bays at the front, and they need to be on some kind of a hard stand like paving or concrete or bitumen. So basically, we made that decision to basically rip out the driveway, and then when we would pour the new concrete driveway, we would pour this section here, afterwards, and it would just be one flow of fresh concrete running through the site. So we're going in through here, looking at the site, and again just looking at the driveway there, getting that area prepped ready for the earthworks contractor to come through. And if you remember, there was an old asbestos shed here, and you can kind of see a better view of what's going on here. Here's the natural, when the demolition company came in, they generally will rip out what's there, and they'll just kind of drag the sand around and level it off as best they can. In this case though, the level here is actually higher than it is down here near the house. So this is actually sloping down in this direction, not by much, maybe a meter fall from here down to the house level. Over here though, it's level through here, but then it's sloping up through here. And this is what I was talking about with City of Canning. We thought we might get away with this little angle of repose, this little slope of sand running up to the base of the fence here. But when we sent in the email to the city, with our questions, they just hit us up for everything. And it's a bit of a tricky one when you're consulting with people on how much work they should do on a site. We generally suggest to people, it depends whether time is on your side or not. If you've got time on your side and you want to spend as little money as possible, the strategy you might want to employ would be to do the basic amount of site works, what you see in front of you there now, just clearing the site, and then getting everything else ready, and then applying for your clearances at the end of the subdivision. And that's where you go back to the local government and you actually get a letter from them saying that you've done all your work. That's called a clearance letter. Well, you could do this amount of work here now, and then at the end of the subdivision, when you apply for the clearance, they will send out a town planner to the site to do an inspection generally. And at that point, one or two things will happen. They might be happy with the condition of the site as it is here, or they might then hit you up and go, we don't like the condition this bank is in, we want you to install retaining walls here. And similarly back down here, as you're flying up, this area I said was lower down here than it is here. That would mean that we would need to level the land up through here, so that the level at the level here is the same as the level here. That means we would need to install a retaining wall through here. And the risk is time. So if you basically are in a rush to have the project completed, then the question is, do you do that work now to make sure that when the planner comes to site that they tick all the boxes and your subdivision goes through and gets approved? Or do they pull you up at the end of that project when you're selling that land to someone and someone's put an offer on that land, and time is really critical at that point, to find out at that point that you need to go back to the drawing board and go through a planning process to get all these retaining walls, approved by council and installed by a contractor, and all of those different things? That takes time. So do you make a decision? Do you wait till the end, see what happens, and then cross that bridge when you come to it? Or do you do it all now? Do you contact the council, show them your deck of cards, and then get the feedback off them on what that you need to do? The thing you got to realize is that once you open that can of worms with the council and you touch base with them to ask them questions, you are on their radar. Then they now know, they now have written correspondence from you on the condition of the site, or they might, you might have had a meeting with them. But as soon as they give you feedback on what they think you should do, then you have to do it. Then you're stuck doing it. Whereas sometimes if you leave it at the very end and you just run the gauntlet, you might get away without having to do some of these works. And if you look at this project, the big question is well, if we had left this till the very end, would we have gotten away without doing all these earthworks and retaining? Or would we have had to install all of them at the end of the project? With this particular project, we worked in with the client. We assessed the risk. We wanted him starting building in early 2022, and he was under contract with Dales, where he had to have the site ready by a certain time and titles issued. His contract was going to change and big variations were going to come, which was happening with everyone through the building kind of boom there in 2021 and 2020, 2021, with the building grants, etc. The big thing that was going around was once people were going out of contract, they were getting hit up for variations from the builders, and big ones, $20,000-$30,000. So we looked at the risk and we were like, no, we need to do this now. We need to get all of this done. We can't wait till the end and take a risk. We have to have the project done by a certain time frame. So we decided to just get stuck into it and do all of the works and get that site ready. And the question is what will you do when it's your turn? So just quickly flying around the side here again, just showing you, that's it there. There's the house. So we ended up having to install retaining walls through here, level out this sandy lot here, construct a driveway down through here to the road, install drainage down there, install the retaining walls along this boundary, and install retaining walls over on this boundary. Yes, over on this boundary we had to install retaining walls. New colour bond fence. We had to do everything. So I'll just quickly flick through the side here one more time. And the reason I actually recorded this video mainly was because I do subdivision training seminars for people, once a month usually in West Perth when we're not very busy. And I wanted to record this project to show people, a before and after on how these things, happen. And that's the only reason I have this footage. So just quickly flying back out over the side again, seeing it from a different perspective. And again, there's that area that we had to prepare for the hard stand. And I'll now move on to this next video and show you what the site is like after, before we actually look into the processes.